This program is dedicated to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future. I'm Keith Warren. I'm a hunter.
What do you think of that? Yeah. Woo!
A fisherman.
2 fish on at one time? Oh my gosh!
A conservationist.
Hey, let go of that nipple. You're done. You're finished.
A family man.
Life is good. I love you, baby.
Love you too.
And I'm proud to be a deer farmer. I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America. This is Deer and Wildlife Stories.
All right, we're going to open, so just quiet for a second. This is a heck of a deer, and it's a legendary deer. You know, before we talk about deer, let's talk about legends. You know, if anybody mentioned Emmitt Smith, you're going to think immediately what? Basketball. You hear of, you know, Babe Ruth, you think of what? Football. I mean, so those are legends. And so what happens is when it comes to the deer industry,
No, you got it all wrong, Keith.
What?
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
No, hold on. When it comes to the deer industry, this deer right here is a legend, and his name is Max. And what do you mean I got it wrong?
About the whole Emmitt Smith and sports. I don't think you know your sports real well, Keith.
I may not know sports very well, but I guarantee you, I know this is a legend in the deer industry right here, folks. This is Max, and he is an absolute legend. He changed the deer industry. Maybe I need to watch like Sports Center or something.
It would be a good idea, Keith.
This is a giant deer. His name, well, it was Max. Max is a legend in the deer industry. He'd be the same as, say, Michael Jordan is to basketball. If you were going to have a game of basketball, wouldn't you want Michael Jordan on your side? I think everybody would. Well, if you're going to play the game of the deer farming business, I think you'd want to have Max on your side. And after today's show, I think you're going to see why.
I'm Kurt Waldvogel from Waldvogel Whitetails. My farm is located 10 miles north of London, Ohio, which is about half of an hour west of Columbus, Ohio. My farm is on approximately 44 acres of property, double fenced. I have about 85 deer on the property. I've been raising deer for 25 years, and when I first started, we simply started as a hobby. That's all we wanted was to raise deer because we loved it. And as things evolved, the business evolved, the industry evolved, my genetic lines have evolved and gotten better and better. I say it a lot that I am the luckiest man alive because I get to do every day what my #1 hobby and passion is, and that's raising whitetail deer. I live on my farm. I've raised my children on the farm. My children have grown up as deer farmers as long as they can remember, and I really believe that that has helped them grow up and to be the good young adults that they are today. I bottle feed all my doe fawns myself and my family, and we're gonna go do that now. Hold on, babies. Oh, hold on, back up. Hold on here. Hold on here, guys. You guys hungry? Are you hungry? Oh yeah. They will be off the bottle in about 2 weeks. They were born first week or two of May. I think this one was born May 7th and this one was born May 15th. I think you're gonna have your shoes untied here shortly. That's all there is. That's all there is. Okay, we're done. Well, we're almost done bottle feeding. These girls are about 3 months old. That's about the point that we finish bottle feeding. Right now we're slowly weaning them off the bottle. They're at 1 time a day. And here in the next couple of weeks, they'll be all done. I'm Kurt Waldvogel, and you're watching Deer and Wildlife Stories.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by
Bruton Easy Pull Trailers,
Deer Guardian Misting Systems, Game Management Software, the North American Deer Farmers Association, Record Rack Deer Feeds,
Whitetail Sales and Service, and Newport Labs.
People ask me all the time if they can come out and visit my deer. I welcome my customers to come out and see my deer and how they progress from year to year. I wish they would come every year. I'm proud of what I'm doing here, and I think they should be too, because they're investing in my line. If anyone would like a farm tour, give me a call. We can set something up. The best time to come on a farm tour is July and August. Typically all the fawns are born. The bucks are growing out or grown out, and you have a really good idea of what they've done in that year's growth. And it's a good time to come out because I'll know what I'll have to sell in the next few months. And it also gives us a chance to sit down and visit on what needs and desires you have for your farm.
Before we even get started on anything, I think it's important to point out that this all started with one line of deer. Waldvogel Whitetails, it started with one deer. Tell everybody about that and kind of how it evolved.
No doubt it started with Max. Max is the founding father of the Waldvogel line. He's the one that started it all. If you look throughout the industry, not just in my pens, but look throughout the industry, there is no other herd sire that has had the impact that Max has on the industry. It's interesting, Keith, about the Max influence. I was at a sale recently, and someone came up to me in the auction room and said, if you take Max's influence out of this room, take every head down that has the Max influence in that deer, take it down. And he looked around and he says, you know, it'd be a pretty empty room.
What's going on this farm, really, these are descendants of that famous super sire, Max. All right, so these are all yearlings in here, right?
Yep, this is a pen of all yearlings, and these are my spider yearlings.
The thing is, I'm looking at them, I mean, there's not a slouch in the bunch. They're pretty.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with production Spider's given me. He's got a great pedigree, and it's really showing through his sons.
I know a lot of people, well, I hear a lot of people talking about Spider, but I haven't laid eyes on him, but he got the job done here. Now, but you've got a lot more yearlings on the farm than just this one pen, though, don't you?
Yeah, I have about 25. I have them split up into groups. Spider is in with another group of yearlings, so we can go take a look at him if you want.
Yeah, but hold on a minute. I'm just still looking at these guys. I mean, folks, what you're looking at here, these are real pretty yearlings. When you can see yearling bucks that are like this, they have a pretty shape. They're very symmetrical looking. When you see them like that, and you know they've got good blood,
they're going to get the job done.
Yeah.
My farm is known for, if a yearling buck is of that size, there's one guarantee: when he gets older, he's going to be big.
Yeah. So, you know, that's funny because a lot of states they've got antler restrictions. They'll say 3 points per side or 13 inches or whatever needs to be, you know, legal. It's like, could you imagine these deer right here when they get 3 years old? You'd need to have a wide angle lens to show them. All right, well, take me. I want to see some more yearling bucks, and I want to see Spider.
All right, let's go.
All right, more yearlings, obviously. And boy, look at these. I mean, there's some really pretty ones in here.
Yeah, I'm real proud of these as well. These are my bass yearlings, and also the yearlings that I got out of the product of my artificial insemination. So there's some pretty interesting crosses out there that I think are going to do pretty good down the road.
Oh yeah, they're real pretty, typical deer. I mean, there's some in there that got a little bit of stuff going on, but I mean, they're beautiful. I haven't seen a slouch yet. I mean, every one of them is a nice yearling. Consistency, that's the whole name of the game in the deer business, consistency.
That's what I've been focusing on the last few years. Not so much to grow the largest buck in the world, but I want to grow the largest, prettiest buck in the world. And you have to have a solid frame on that animal. And that's what I think you're seeing in my yearlings is the start of that solid frame. And as they get older, that's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and give them something to put something on.
No question. Speaking of big, who in the world is that right there?
Oh, that's Spider. He's 5 years old. He's been a herd sire of mine for 4 years now. I've used him ever since he was a yearling. Just typical of my genetics, he just keeps on getting bigger and bigger every year. He's
the sire of those yearlings we just looked at.
Yep, that's correct.
Wow, what a heck of a deer.
What's interesting is a lot of his sons at 1 are a whole lot bigger than he was at 1. And look how big he is at 5. So can you imagine what some of them young ones are going to look like when they get to be his age?
Well, the reason why they're bigger, it's real simple. You and I both know because they've got better blood now on the bottom.
Correct. Every year you should be breeding better and better deer, and that is true. I mean, his sons will be better, and his sons' sons will be better, and you just try to keep on improving the breed.
That's one thing people ask me how do they keep getting bigger and bigger. It's real simple. It's just the genetics just keep getting stacked better and better.
That's true.
Wow.
That's what we try to do here.
Well, and you really don't have that many deer. I'm looking at the pen. I mean, there's just not that many deer. Your pens are beautiful, but you don't have that many deer in here. You say you've got one more pen with yearlings in it?
I do.
All right, where are they?
They're over here.
All right, let's
go.
It's time for viewer feedback, brought to you by the Deer and Wildlife Stories YouTube channel.
Hey Keith, I really like watching your shows. The only problem is I moved a few weeks ago and cannot get you on TV anymore. How can I still watch your videos? Any help would be very much appreciated. Joan from Oklahoma. Joan, good question. No problem at all. All you need to do is log on to my website where we've got all past shows and all current shows. We also premiere our shows. Quiet on the set. We premiere our shows right there on my website in full HD. So no excuses for not watching anymore. 24/7 full HD. All you need to do, go to my website. Good question, Joan.
Got a question about deer farming or a comment about the show? I'd love to hear from you. Make sure and shoot me an email, and also watch all of our programs and outtakes as well right here on the Deer and Wildlife Stories YouTube channel. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by DNA Solutions and the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, Shock Effect Probiotics, and Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch, the best value for Texas trophy deer hunting.
All right, these look like yearlings, but if they're yearlings, they're like really good yearlings. What's the story here?
We have some rush yearlings and shadow yearlings is what's in here. And of course, shadow is well known to put on some pretty big sons. And of course, that's represented here. And this is my first group of yearlings out of rush. You know, given that rush is a son of shadow, it's following suit like father like son.
And shadow was out of Max.
Max bow.
Out of Max bow.
Who's out of
that
Max.
was out of Max.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, it's pedigree.
Yeah.
Like father, like son, like grandson, like great grandson. It's just going down the tree.
Yeah, you can't find hardly any deer in my pens that doesn't have Max somewhere in a pedigree at least once.
So anybody that deals with you that buys a deer from you, more than likely they're going to have influence from Max in their stuff.
Yeah, no question. No
Okay,
question.
so but you mentioned rush. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, we've seen great yearlings, we've seen Spider, but where's Rush? I mean, I don't. Is Rush still around?
Oh yeah, Rush is alive. He's doing real well. He's very big this year. He's 5 as well.
Where's he?
He's over at a partner of mine who bought into Rush, and we took him over to his farm to do some breeding. So he's no longer on the farm, but he's still doing very well for him, and we can go over and see him if you want.
Take me to see Rush.
Okay, let's go.
All right, what's he score? Get on my Facebook page and let me know. He had a 23-inch spread. The person who gets the closest score first is going to get a Waldvogel Whitetails t-shirt. 3-year-old buck, 23-inch spread. Take a look at that bad boy. Let me know what you think. A second ago, we were showing you the yearlings out of shadow and out of a buck named Rush. And Kurt had said that he had a partner on Rush, and Rush was at the partner's place. Well, I didn't know the partner was Ben Ferguson. I've been over here at Ben's a couple of years ago. I was over here doing a Deer and Wildlife Story show, and anyway, now sure enough, I mean, I know you've been dealing with Kurt for a long time, but now with that deer in there, there's no doubt who Rush is. Tell me about him.
Well, that's the buck that I sold part interest to Ben last year, and he came over here and grew out actually really nice this year. I'm real happy with the way Ben treated him, and he grew out real nice. He's a shadow son, and obviously with the pen we just looked at, looking at his sons, he's getting the job done just like his daddy was. Exceptional deer.
Now that deer's 5 years old?
He is 5 years old, yep.
We had talked earlier about deer putting it on the ground and a deer becoming a super sire. You got to give the deer enough age to become a super sire. Well, that deer now is coming of age to where now he's got really nice offspring on the ground, both male and female. And now he'll only go up in value as those deer get bigger, but as those deer throw big ones.
Yep, he's going to be a prime example of just that, where last year he was big and beautiful, but he didn't have anything on the ground. But now that we have the proof in my pen and actually seeing what he's doing again this year at 5, proves that he is going to increase in value, and his offspring will have more value, and everything that comes out of him should do better.
And everything that comes out of him that's big is just going to make his value go up more and more.
That is correct. And I hope now that I've brought Ben in as partner on that deer, I'm hoping that it actually improves the value on the genetics of his farm, which in turn is going to help him make more money with that deer. That's what it's all about. That's what a good partnership's all about.
I'm a relatively new deer farmer, and when I got into the business and started growing my genetics here on my farm, I looked for a partner that had proven genetics that I thought fit with the goals that I had. And I found that Kurt Waldvogel and what he'd been doing down at his farm was exactly where I wanted to be. And the easiest way to do such a thing was to partner with Kurt on one of his top deer and top sires. And that's why I partnered with Kurt on Rush last year, brought him to my farm. He's bred many of my top does here, and I can't be happier with seeing what he's put on the farm as far as yearlings at Kurt's and other farms, and knowing the top does that he has bred at my farm. I can't be happier for several different reasons. Number one, for the economics and getting somebody else's genetics that has spent more than 20 years in refining the genetics that it takes now in this market and the marketability to put the best deer on the ground over and over consistently. I can't be happier partnering with Kurt Waldvogel on Rush.
It's common for people to come to me and say, well, I sure do like that deer, but I just can't afford it, what the value of the animal is. That's fine. I've sold interest in deer, and I partner with deer all the time. I probably am more creative in being able to work with my customers so they get what they want, what's going to benefit their herd, than probably anybody else in the industry. Proud to do that with any new customer, old customer. I enjoy the relationships I build with my customers.
All right, this is Jason Larue. Jason is a partner with Kurt Waldvogel. We're down here about an hour due west of San Antonio, just north of Hondo, at a farm. And like I said, Jason and Kurt are partners. And tell me who these deer are in here now.
Well, 113, that's Big Easy. He's kind of our superstar 2-year-old coming up, real pretty deer. Easy Does It son on a shadow doe. And we have Spider-Man. He's a spider son on a triple bred Edgerton, Don Juan's mother.
And he's got the flyer off him.
He does.
Yeah.
Blue 60. And then we have Black Ops. He's 007, funny enough, on his tag.
Okay.
And he was real close to 300 last year at 2, and I think he'll be about that again this year at 3.
Okay, you've got some real nice typical deer. These are pretty deer. And folks, the cool thing about dealing with Kurt or Jason is that when you deal with them, you can, well, you've got a choice of deer, really. You can pick deer down here in Texas or deer up there in Ohio. So that's a real nice deal. These are some nice looking deer.
Thank you, Keith.
All right, if somebody would like to get a hold of you, Jason, give them a phone number.
903-243-1182.
We don't have enough time in this show, Keith, to go on and on about how many great sires have come out of either Mac's sons or Mac's grandsons. They're just too numerous to mention, really.
Our industry is built upon a foundation of deer, good foundations of deer. Just like you wouldn't build a house without a good foundation, well, you won't build a deer program, a good deer program, without a good foundation. And many, many of the big breeders out there in the market today started their foundation with Kurt's offspring that came from right here. So these deer that you've seen in the pens, these are direct descendants of all this. You've got deer for sale, you've got semen for sale.
Yes, sir.
And the cool thing, I gotta ask you this. You're from Wisconsin, and I know, I mean, that's cold up there, but you were a deer farmer up in Wisconsin. That's where Max was, okay? But then he moved to Ohio for the mild winters. Okay, but he could have picked any state to come to, and I'm just wondering, why did you pick Ohio?
Ohio has always been known as a very deer-friendly state to raise whitetails in. The Department of Ag in Ohio understands that we have a viable industry. They know that it's a growing industry. They see no reason why they shouldn't help promote and protect our industry. That speaks volumes when you're a deer farmer, because not every state has a state agency who regulates you that views you in a positive light. Ohio is still a CWD-free state, and other states recognize that, so the potential to move to states that other states would be restricted to is there. We are able to import deer into Ohio based on fair and reasonable regulation, and that's very important. When I want to diversify my genetics on my farm, I'm able to pick and choose different locations of where they're coming from. Ohio accepts the fact that we are on these monitoring programs and they're valid and they allow these deer to come in. When you come here on a farm tour, it's more than just looking at big deer. Of course, we're going to start looking at all the deer, all the fawns, the does, the big bucks. But after that, that's when the real quality time comes in. You can sit down with me in my office and we can discuss your needs, what you want, why you want it, and where you're really going to go in the next 3 to 5 years, because your purchasing decisions today are going to influence where you are in 3 to 5 years. So that's why it's very important that you spend the time with me to get to know what you really want and where you want to go. If there's any way I can help you improve your genetics, or if you just want to learn more about my genetic line, feel free to visit my website or give me a call anytime. I'd be more than happy to spend some time with you to help you along.
If you'd like to watch full episodes of our program 24/7 online in full high definition, log on to my website at deerandwildlifestories.com. There you'll find the shows, but you'll also find a lot of outtakes and behind the scenes videos as well. That's deerandwildlifestories.com. Reproductive services for Deer and Wildlife Stories is provided by Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics.